So welcome back to another episode of our Wednesday Icon Talk. This is yours truly, His Excellency the Car, and I'm with our founder of our show, Dr. Diane Moore Eubanks, and we are going to have our special edition of our May 2021 Empower You Conference, and that was Master Class 2, Economic Development. You can see we have our master teacher, Assistant Dean Dr. Daniel Porte, as well as our panelist, Dr. Nate Camp-Kauser, as well as Her Excellency Attorney Reverend Dr. Diane and Dr. Kevin J. Subert. They're going to be on the panelists as well. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Exactly. It was so exciting. Hi, everyone. All right. Well, this is masterclass number 2, Economic Development, with our master teacher, Assistant Dean Dr. Danny Porte. So as for our other speakers, we have our Chancellor, Dr. Diane Moore Eubanks. Now we also have Dr. Kevin Suber. We also have Dr. Nathaniel Kauser. So without further ado, Dr. Porte, the floor is yours.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to have a panel full of experts. So I am so excited. Let's get started, though. Let's tell you a little bit about economic development. It is the creation of wealth from which community benefits are realized in more than a jobs program. It's an investment in growing your economy and enhancing the prosperity and quality of life all residents. Before I ask any questions, let me share something with you. So as we all know, last year, none of us knew what was happening right after the Super Bowl. Okay, with this pandemic. I was starting a call center in Indianapolis, Indiana, that was supposed to go live May 1st. And COVID happened.
Wow.
COVID happened. Okay?
Wow.
So the financial commitment I made as a business owner didn't include COVID, guys. It did not include having a station set up that could take temperatures if you're coming in to this call center. It did not take for me having hand sanitizer at every desk, at every location. It did not take. I did not make plans, nor did I have plans for any of those things. So we're going to talk a little deeper now, because I want to find out, how did COVID affect you and your businesses? So Dr. Kevin Suber, please talk about, how did COVID affect you?
So I was listening to your story and I was reflecting back. I was at a leadership conference and we were making plans to expand one of our businesses into Africa. Got back and I had a speaking engagement in Atlanta, and that was when the news first broke. And the lady who had me set up to speak, she called, she said, "They say a couple of weeks, so let's just wait 2 weeks and see what happens." Let's wait 2 weeks. And so a year later, right? Because right after I had that speaking engagement, I was set to go to Africa. That didn't happen until November of last year. So it basically put everything behind almost a complete year. Now, as God would have it, and we thank God, and I know you probably have these questions set up later, but when a non-foreseeable disruption happens, you have two choices. You bury yourself or you pivot. That's it. You either bury yourself or you pivot. So I know you've got questions for that later, but I'll say this to answer your question. COVID made me realize that there is a God for those who did not know.
Well said, well said. And guys, you too should have slapped me. I have the chancellor on. She's the woman sitting next, this over all this. Chancellor, I should have started with you.
Yep.
So please accept my apology. Please accept my apology. So how has COVID played a significant role with the growth or the direction of GODSU?
You know, that's like a double-edged sword, because and being second is fine. Just gave me time to put my thoughts together. As a leadership group, we've gotten closer. I mean, I have surround around me some serious generals, and you know, we're communicating every day, and we are, you know, today we're doing this and that. I mean, normally our board members, we don't operate like that. Normally, you know, you meet once every 2 months or every. Not this team. This team has just been daily. You talk about Moses, you know, having Aaron and everybody. I mean, you guys have been amazing. And talking about pivoting, because we have Dakar marketing tools, it wasn't that great a pivot. We've had huge universities to contact us to ask us for help.
How do you do it?
Because they don't know and they can't believe that we do what we do with what we have. You know, and so we've been able to meander and to pivot. We closed down our physical side. So in terms of economics, we closed down our physical side, but I was like, thank God, because I didn't want to drive all the way to South Carolina anyway. So I was like, okay, no, I have an excuse. See, now I have an excuse. And so, you know, but what I do miss is just hugging you guys and seeing you in person. But I still feel the spirit. Like Dr. Porte, if you come to Florida and don't stay at my house, I'll be upset. Dr. Causa, the same thing. Dr. Suba, the same, because you spend so much time with folks, even if it's virtual.
Yeah.
And before, we used to talk to folks, not see them, and then we'd show up to graduation and see them the first time. I'm seeing folks every single day. So you really can feel people's spirit. You can feel the trust. You have so much of a strong relationship. And so how it's affected us negatively now is that certain folks who would have wanted to give more or move faster, they don't have those fundings anymore, because it is a trickle-down effect. I know Reagan talked about trickle-down economics. Is definitely trickle-down economics. So if our members are not doing well, then they can't, you know, sign up for the chaplaincies. They can't sign up for those online courses that you've offered us. They can't do so many things. But we work with people, because we're used to people just, you know, just sending their $800. Now we have people sending, guess what, $100 a month, and they still graduated with their chaplaincy. So we've been lenient. It's given us more of a spirit of God to be more empathetic towards people. And that's what we've done, is that we work with people. And so, you know, it's negative, it's positive, but overall, I think it's been great because of you all. You know, you guys make the difference. So.
Well stated, Chancellor. Okay, so Dr. Causa, I got a chance to go out to your website and I see some of everything. So please answer the question that we all have, because you have products, you have some of everything. So how has COVID disrupted or played a way in your role and your strategy?
Well, actually, I appreciate Dr. Porte for that question. Actually, COVID had a twist of turn for us. We were about to launch last March on our product lines. Of course, everything had to be shut down. You couldn't have events of more than 50, then 25. You know, you really couldn't have an event at all because of COVID. But what transpired out of that, I've always said, plan strategy B, C, to make sure you can react. And what ended up happening through the grace of God, our products end up getting selected and got put more on a pedestal because of the prevention that it could do. So we went from getting our products in 17 different industries to try to get it out to, you know, say 5 or 6 countries. We got selected as the products for 190 countries and one of the largest contracts in the world.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Oh yeah.
Won't he do it?
And you know, instead of the 10 times 40 plus, 4,000 plus.
Yeah.
But it's been a magnitude of just honoring him and having patience. I always say, you always have a strategy to go this way, but plan for 2 other routes just in case. And he takes you on those routes to get you to that level of success.
Yeah.
And so that's where we've been. Now we've had a longer wait, but now we have a bigger impact to support people around the world.
Beautiful.
Okay. We're gonna get to that. So I'm gonna finish setting this up. So now COVID hits.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm in 49 states,
Mm-hmm.
to include Puerto Rico and Guam.
Mm-hmm.
You have all of these rules
Mm-hmm.
and guidelines
Mm-hmm.
that's being made.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're told, I want your team to work remote.
Mm-hmm.
But just imagine for a moment
Mm-hmm.
that all of my consultants were working at GODSU for the chancellor.
Mm-hmm.
And the chancellor decides she's going to send everyone home. I had to get laptops that was not a part of my overhead projections
Right.
or any of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to set that question up for you guys. So what have you learned about your business today that have made you stronger? What processes from an economic development and growth have you now put in place to ensure continued growth happens? Chancellor, I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Adorable. All right, so we've totally moved from brick and mortar to completely online. And it was revolutionary for us because we kind of started already, but now we had to be mailing out cell phones and laptops to all of the folks who normally would work for us. And that was an additional expense. The regular computers that we had, we used to just use, like His Excellency would just use one. No, we had to have 4 computers for him because just the power, when we had one computer, it would blow up, because of the intensity and the level of excellence of what we do. So in fact, it cost us an additional $100,000 just to ramp up. We spent an additional $100,000. Yeah.
I had to even increase my electronics as well.
Yeah, all of us. Yeah.
Thank you, Chancellor. Dr. Suber, please.
So the first word was pivot. Second word is scale. Okay. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So my home church, Faithful Central Bible Church, on Tuesdays, we do something called How To Tuesdays. It's been rebranded to Set for Life. And on a normal Tuesday, pre-COVID, there would be 30 to 40 people that would show up, and it's entrepreneurial information, how to build a business, how to market your business, how to register your business. But also we would add, home stuff, right? Like, my wife did one because we have 4 kids. So she did one on how to shop on a small budget with a large family. So, whatever it is that can streamline it and give you economic empowerment in the household. Okay. Because that's how true legacy comes. So again, 30 to 40 people a week. Well, when COVID hit, right, people had to dial in online. They could not come to the facility. So what happened? Well, we thought what would go down, we marketed and it went up. It went up 10x. So instead of 40 people a week watching, there was 400 people a week watching because they could look at it online and then watch it again. So first word, pivot. Second word, scale. Scale. So you have that initial chunk of money you're going to have to spend out of the gate that was not planned for. That is painful. But once you do that, then you pivot and your eyesight, your line of vision is on, how do I now scale? How can I get to more people with this information? Because the information is the same. GODSU's blowing up. Why? Because the information was always good. The dinner was always good. The buffet was always good, but now you can get more people in line. This is what you want. You got more people at the table eating from this incredible feast.
Absolutely amazing. I'm going to come back to that scale. I love it. Okay. Dr. Kalzer, please, same question.
Yeah, I would stick to the pivot and scale as well, but pivoting, we had to seriously pivot, but in a good way. I always have this philosophy, if there's no struggle, there's no progress.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore we were planning to, and we were scalable and getting ready for any plateau of whatever the latitude would be. But when we got pulled in for this particular opportunity, opportunities were coming week after week, while we're still basically in line to proceed with funding. Okay. And with that being said, it was time over time after time waiting on patients to get started, but contracts kept coming in. So now we're kicking off this thing with hundreds of contracts into not only just 190 countries, but now, we both military. I've been asked to run the world's global military program, which means that's hundreds more people to hire, along with the hundreds that we have to hire now. So scalability has actually been a blessing to position based on the relationships and the network. And then pivoting, again, just having that strategy of building your model to be flexible and to be able to bend and change.
Wow, I love it. As I'm listening to Dr. Kauser, all I'm hearing is more money, because people, more money. And we're talking about economic development, but we're also talking about growing the economy by hiring, stimulating the economy, the economic impact of us hiring and bringing on good folk. And that's what we're going to do for GODSU as well. Make sure that we do exactly that. But I want to take that word scale for one moment. So in my industry, I'm going to stick to COVID for 1 second. So just imagine now, we're going through COVID, everybody's going through it, and now our nation says, we're going to give you $600 a week under the CARES Act to not really go to work. to not really go to work. Okay. So in my industry, where we were doing call center support, okay, for Medicaid and Medicare, these are call centers.
Right.
We could not keep people. If you're receiving $2,400 tax-free a month versus $15 an hour wage, which are you going to choose? Right? Which are you going to choose? So scale is very important. So we had to get creative. Can we talk about a economic advantage or a strategy you put in place to make sure that your revenues didn't go backwards, that you could still stimulate the economy, or you could take advantage of what you're seeing that others were failing in? Okay. And this time, I'm not going to start with the chancellor. I'm going to start with Dr. Kauser.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you say that, because it didn't affect us. I know it has affected a lot of people, because the scalability of where we were positioning people, we don't have to hire. The people that we're hiring is not at that level where the $600 difference will make a difference for them not working and to work. Also, too, because we're privately funded, not government funded, our wages are many times more than what the average wage would be. So we're probably above the threshold at the highest levels or higher. So therefore, we didn't have to go through that, or not having to go through that ability to hire people. So again, we just happen to be in that different situation. But from an impact purpose for as an economic situation, I think the companies that are doing that and positioning, I think there may be a trade-off on what their bottom lines can be. Maybe they need to lower the bar of revenue. And I know we're all about making money. I know we're all about scaling. But we may have to look at that, because I truly believe the wages are too small. And it does put a challenge, because myself years ago, when I got laid off and from a permanent working position, when I worked in corporate America, that was my last, back in 1989, that was my last time working in corporate America. I was an entrepreneur ever since then. But the reason why was because I could scale my own and plan my own strategy out over that. And I think as an entrepreneur, you have to plan that in your revenue. Always go above whatever the minimum of what people are paying. And then you can scale down, but you'll still be above the average. So again, we don't have that problem. So I probably wouldn't be a good person to answer that.
Okay. So, the chancellor said something that I'm still heavy hearted on. That's why I skipped the chancellor. She talked about those who want to come to the college, but instead of paying the $800, in a sense, we're taking $800 and putting that $800, and Chancellor, I don't want to put words in your mouth, almost on a payment plan. Okay, almost on a payment plan. So that puts everything in a pickle when you're talking about the backwards funding, because a school runs off of money, payroll, people. Okay, so my prayer is that, Chancellor, you have a board. If we were a basketball team, we would be called the Dream Team. You have a board. You have a board of believers. You have a board of doers. You have a board of people that desire to really get it done, to really take your mission, your vision, and help you exceed. That way, my hope is for the future. When they apply, we have enough funds to where if you needed to put them on a payment plan, we all got you.
Yeah.
That way they can continue their education. Okay? And I apologize for getting off script, but that touched me for a minute. So Dr. Suber, please, before we let the chancellor answer that, please.
There we go. Since we're doing one word at a time, let's add one more word. Let's add legacy, right? Legacy is tied to purpose, right? Legacy is tied to purpose. Legacy is something that lives after us, right? So I'm working on a project right now with an HBCU. I'll be able to talk a little bit more about that later, but it's right around the corner. But one of the challenges, if you look at endowments, right? You look at endowments for all the HBCUs versus some PWIs, right? There's no comparison. The largest HBCU is just under $1 billion. I'm a graduate of the University of Virginia. We have a $10 billion endowment that actually grew during COVID. So how does GODSU, how do us as individuals, how do we compete? While we're growing, you have to sometimes sacrificially put something to the side. You have to sacrificially put something there that lives after you, that does the work when you walk away. I had one of my mentees say something one time that was so profound. I was reminded that, everybody learns from everybody, right? If you're the teacher, that does not mean you can't learn from the student. And we were having a conversation about something, and I was remarking at how many people were attracted to a particular project we were working on. And he said, Kev, that's because your name is still talking after you leave the room. That's legacy. What's doing the talking? What is making the impact, as Dr. Kaiser said? What's making that impact? What's doing the work after we leave? And everything that we build as we grow, we have to pull and pare something to the side. We have to. Let me say it one more time. We have to pare something to the side to make sure that continuous improvement and motion can go. But not only that, that legacy is in place, that should something happen, there's a plan, or there's a ram in the bush, right? And the ram in the bush, by the way, requires that we actually move. That ram in the bush didn't happen back before he started his journey. The ram in the bush was on the way during the journey. That's a whole nother story, sermon for another time.
So we call that, for me, in Business 101, succession planning. Right?
That's exactly it. Yep.
Succession planning.
That's exactly it.
But guess what, guys? We have witnessed with GODSU and what the chancellor is doing, all of that in action.
Yes.
So you're talking about someone embodying a legacy, someone embodying, economic development. His Excellency Eubanks, Dakar. What is he doing? Her Excellency Sudan, what is she doing?
Right.
Her Excellency Cairo, what is she doing?
Right.
That is not the norm in the USA.
Nope.
Okay. So Chancellor, hats off to you and your family. for what you are doing and allowing us to witness that and to see that. It's fun to mentor your youth and to share what we all know and impart our wisdom. So I will say right now, Dr. Kauser, talk to me from an economic development right now. How would borrowing money be today in your world with the economy going through COVID right now? How is that?
Well, there's two sides of that. Well, right now, because of the traditional funding or financials that happen in a normal time without COVID, at a bank, it's already near impossible. Now it's even stronger in a point of not being able to achieve. However, because of the funding and investors that have, or private equity firms, they're investing more than they ever had. So right now it's in a state of time that if you have access to cash and able to spend, now is the time. Because people are looking for these various companies that they can invest in, especially as an entrepreneur, especially as a university. They're looking for those inlets to expand, to get ahead of the curve. We were behind the curve during COVID. We knew it was coming 2 years ago prior, but we did nothing for it. Now we're in a position to get ahead of it. We were already putting products out for prevention of COVID before it hit. Now we're actually expanding many times more for the next wave, not for where the position that we're in now is for the future. So economically, as far as companies, individuals, owners going out to try to solicit money, I've been saying this for years, and you know, Danny, at government defense conferences, if you don't have a personal bank, get a personal bank, a small bank. Get to know that banker, because that's where it's going to happen. Get to know that particular entity way before down the line. I always tell people when they're building a house, build a structure, build a foundation first. You won't be able to weather the storm. So you have to make sure that you build for the future and then back it up to where you are today.
Chancellor, I've asked a lot of questions so far, and Dr. Suber, you're going to be prepared after the Chancellor to answer the same question about lending, but I want to hear from the Chancellor. I asked two questions. What are your thoughts about what we've been talking about so far, Chancellor?
Well, I would say this, that borrowing has been harder. I found it was easier last year while we're in the middle of COVID. Now that we're coming out of COVID, we've submitted similar paperwork and it's not going through as easily. We actually planned our budget based on projections and pledges of folks signing up for courses. That's how we plan our budget. All nonprofits plan their budgets that way. So when COVID hit and folks were telling us that, this year we're not giving anything, or if we pledged 25,000, we're going to give 2,500. And by the way, you're the only charity that we're giving anything to. Then that really negatively affected us. What we've done is through volunteers, we have been able to keep up the quality of what we do, but we've had to lose some of our employees that would get regular salary because we planned and plotted everything based on the pledges that we got pre-COVID. So COVID has affected us financially very hard, but in terms of excellence, our excellence has gone up to the next level because we've now attracted even more dedicated people in terms of, folks, sending in great people. In fact, Dr. Kauser introduced us to you. You know what I mean? So people are getting more people. I think it was on LinkedIn that I met Dr. Kevin Suber, and here he is now. So before COVID, I was not actively recruiting for GODSU. Wasn't. God told me before COVID, last year, year before last, that, okay, you've been doing this, for 6 years, almost 7 years, and depending on other people while you plan the structure. With the people you have now, you're going to need to get back to recruiting. And as a result, 60% of the people who come through GODSU come through me. Dr. Kauser came through me. Dr. Suber came through me. And so God said, you know what? Get back on this. And it's a good thing I started, because here we are. You know, Dr. Adrian, who is my right hand, I met her the same way I met Dr. Kauser, same way I met Dr. Suber. So God, woke up a giant in me and said, you know what? Get back to what you did for other people, because I've worked at other universities and I've built them up and did everything. But I just wanted to make sure the structure, the curriculum, the basis, the education was strong. And I just never went back to recruiting. So I had to go back to recruiting last year. And that's the only reason why we are where we are, because, I put on my recruiting hat and said, okay, let me go for the best of the best. And here you are, the best of the best. So that's kind of what happened.
Thank you, Chancellor. So Dr. Suber, you want to talk about the borrowing of money or raising capital or anything right now?
Yeah. And wow. So I'm going to start where she landed the plane, and then I'm going to answer the money question, because it's so critically important what she just said. If you look at any great sports program, right? You look at any great university, right? You look at any great company, right? You look at the companies where employees, partners, whatever they want to call the folks that push the ball, that make the widgets. It is about recruiting. It's about recruiting. So I'm going to go back to 2008, 9. In that time, the last time we had a market crash, we had an economy crash like this. So not the current crash we're in, but the one before, right? It was during that time where I had several different friends come to me and ask me about an opportunity, and the opportunity was in network marketing. And what do you do? What's one of the things you do in network marketing? You recruit. You recruit. But if you're doing it the right way, you recruit, you find purpose, you develop, and then you leave that person in position to do the same thing. That's what you do. And by the way, any legacy program, again, athletics, etc., the same thing happens. Now I'm going to take that and then say your business, your company, your university is doing one of two things: growing or dying. It's either growing or it is dying. And one of the key ways to impact growth is to always market, have conversations about, recruit. Now let's talk about banking. So there's a story, and I'll try to be brief. Never give me a microphone. So there's a story about a servant who's about to get fired. And he said, oh my goodness, let me see what I can do. I'm too old. I can't be out there without a job. And so he goes and he goes to the people that owe his boss some different items. And he says, let me see your bill, right? Oh, you owe him 400 bushels. Let me make that 200 bushels. Oh, you owe this. Let me cut that in half and make your bill this. And what did his boss do? His boss rewarded him and kept him on. He said he was a shrewd servant, right? And then he went on to tell him that when you're in the world, you operate as the world. And so what's global? So what's GODSU? GODSU, we're folks that are two things. We know who God is, right? But we also know that we've been sent to do work in the world. And to do work in the world, sometimes you take the world's resources to do that kingdom business is what you do. And so when something like PPP loans come out and EIDL loans come out, then you need to understand, how do you put yourself in position to get your hands on that? And by the way, any special grants and any special pocket of money, whether it's community money, banks have this money all the time set aside. Our job, if we're going to do that work as global workers, our job is to figure out, how do we position ourselves to get that money to go do that work?
You are on fire. What I would like to do now is allow everybody 2 to 3 minutes. Tell us about your business. Talk about 2021
Mhm.
plans of action to ensure that if you had any shortcomings in 2020,
Mhm.
how you going to get there? How you going to make them up? What are you going to do? But I want you to keep it within 3 minutes or less.
Mhm.
Okay, 3 minutes or less. Dr. Kauser?
Yeah, 2021 is really turning into a great year for us. Naturally, the waiting, patience of getting everything prepared, but expansion of contracts. We're going to kick off heavily. We're buying manufacturing centers, so we're probably bringing in hundreds of employees that I haven't even seen a resume for that's already functioning a manufacturing center, but we'll get into that. But also our products, mass producing our products over 7 manufacturers, and all the elite sports programs we're connected with pretty much. So that partnership has came in where 2020 was again one of those twisted years, but 2021 has turned out to be great because our expansion of our network expanded deeply, which means our funding base expanded deeply. So when we actually proceed to move forward, 2020 will be a great planet year, because both companies will take off, and then the military program along with that. So we're looking for a great year. We didn't have to get funding as far as investment money. We ended up, like I said, with a huge opportunity to service the entire world for impact of nutrition and health. So now we're just preparing for that. But 2021 is going to be a great year.
Chancellor?
All right, so a little bit about GODSU, a little bit about me. Currently, we are a 501c3. We're not against doing a for-profit because we found that as you are 501c3, you're really dependent on pledges and people saying what they're going to do and that type of thing. And when things happen to them, it affects you. We're so proud that we are an interfaith e-learning institution. We're degree issuing on the Department of Education. We look at 2021 as a breakout year because we are really going to be getting out there all through the globe. We just found out that FITSE, the Florida International Trade Cultural Expo, that we're the ambassadors for all 55 countries in Africa, that it's coming back in person at the end of this year. So that's where we have really been able to affect and bring in people from the Gambia, from South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, coming straight from those countries and being able to come here and do trade and entrepreneurship. So we are not just stuck on being here in the US. We definitely also want to ask all of you who are global as well to partner with us as we reach out and elevate and uplift others. If we get stuck on the point that whatever is in our bank account is exactly our only mission and vision, we have a problem. So I really believe that as GODSU, we focus on mindset, we focus on transformation. No one who's gone through 6 weeks with me every Wednesday is ever going to be the same, because I'm going to pull out in you things you've never seen before. I had one student who for 2 years, he said on purpose he didn't speak to me because I forced him to do technology. His words. He said, Dr. Diane flew all the way to my state, visited me in my business and pointed out how I needed to improve. And I was so mad. Didn't speak to her for 2 years. Now he's on top of all his competitors because I pushed him. Was he upset? Yes. But I tell you what, in the long term, don't you love your parents? Aren't they supposed to take you to the next level and not get upset? I've had one kid told me, you're the worst mother in the world. Yes. And now she tells me she worships me. But that was 5 years ago. You see what I mean? But that's what happens. And I don't treat people like kids, but I see in you how a parent would see in someone that they gave birth to. So I look at myself as your second birth, your birth into that transformation that's going to take you to your definite purpose. So if you're easily ticked off, if you have really thin skin, then maybe maybe you're not ready. But if you are ready to pop, if you are ready to overcome all your obstacles, all anything to do with your esteem. And if you're really ready to be real, come on.
Bring it, Chancellor, bring it. Okay. Dr. Suber, please.
So our business, and I have this conversation with anybody that'll listen and about 3 people that won't. January of last year to where we are right now, it's a completely different company. Yet COVID made us better. COVID made us look inside and say, what are we doing? What do we do good? And what needs to be discarded? So what we do now is we are people and project management, and that's with an international focus. Before, our business was laser focused on coaching and leadership, which obviously is important, and we've incorporated that into what we do. We just now help people do it with what their resources are, what their people are that they have on staff, and we build it out. We help them manage their projects or whatever that might be for that particular entity. We take a hard look at ecosystems, for example, because if you're trying to grow or do a development project, but you've forgotten the community, that's a problem. That's not a development, that's gentrification. That's another conversation for another time, but these are the things that we help people do. And why do we do that? Well, we do it because, I got a lot of stories. So I heard that they were all together in one place on one accord. I heard that, right? But what COVID reminded us is, guess what? We were all together in one place. We just didn't know it. We forgot. We forgot it was one race. We forgot it was one place. We forgot it was one embrace. We forgot. And so what did God do? I'm gonna go down that street for a quick second. I'm gonna pivot right back. So what did he do? He sent us all home to our rooms to think about what we had done, right? Everybody got homeschooled. You go to your room till you get it right. Then we thought we had it right. We came out. He said, nah, you still ain't got it right. Go back. Second wave. So we went back to our rooms. But when we went back to our rooms, when we came out the next time, as we're starting to come out the next time, more often now, most people like, okay, I got it. One race, one place, right? One embrace. So if we don't do something differently, then we're going to be in trouble. So during COVID, what did we do? We started a nonprofit, Global Entrepreneurship Activation. It's laser focused on activation. And that's the challenge right now. So the nonprofit, the for-profit in our company, they work together. I can get into all that later, but thank you so much for giving me a little bit of time.
Okay, so we have basically enough time for 1 minute of your thoughts. I want you to assume today that we have a gymnasium full of high school seniors, okay, of high school seniors. In 1 minute, what would you say to them about economic development or creating their own or the power of entrepreneurship, any of those things that you could encourage them for 1 minute or less? And we're going to allow our chancellor to be last on this one, please.
Okay.
Dr. Kauser?
Well, I would actually tell those particular high school students, first of all, plan ahead, don't plan for today. Looking at where we are and where the economy and everything is going is to look 5 years, 10 years where they want to be. Grow their network now. Reach out to people that's already there and let them know what you want to do, what your dream want to be, and actually match up to those people. Don't sit up there and rely on the traditional means and don't rely on one source. Actually connect with people. If you're not mentored or if you are mentored, reach out to your mentors. If you're not mentored, reach out to them unofficially. That will mentor you later by them not knowing. So that way you can actually kind of get ahead of the curve. And then again, too, find programs, research programs that would help.
Thank you, Dr. Kauser. Dr. Suber.
I would tell them 2 things. I would make sure they understood that they are the leader. No matter what they feel like, maybe they're leading thousands. Maybe they are to lead one person who's going to lead 10,000 people. You are the leader. Don't ever forget that. And if you need me to help you walk that walk, let's walk that walk. That's the first thing I would tell them. The second thing I would tell them is that they're perfectly prepared for their purpose. And so that thing they feel in their heart is that thing that they are supposed to do. What do I do now? I speak to people, I motivate people, I connect people. Well, I felt that way when I was 18. I spent 20 years doing other things to come back to that thing I felt when I was 18. Your heart, your gut is right now. Write an action plan to get it done.
Well stated. Chancellor, please.
Oh, we do this all the time in terms of speaking to young people. The first thing I say to them is really look at what you enjoy doing. Because if you focus on what you enjoy doing, you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
You'll go to bed like me, 3 o'clock in the morning, get it back at 8 because you don't want to go to bed because you just want to keep doing what you're doing. And you can't wait to wake up so you can start it all over again. So what brings that joy? They first need to find your definite purpose. And once they find a definite purpose, look at someone who has been successful in achieving what it is you would like to achieve and let them become a mentor. If it's not someone that you can get to like a Dr. Kauser, Dr. Suber, Dr. Porte, buy their books, go to all of their seminars. That's what I did with Dr. Roberts. I didn't just wake up one day and he's here in our house, in my husband's chair, sleeping in the backyard playing with us. He does that now, but he didn't do that just when we started. I saw where he was speaking, and I got there. I was in Maryland and he was in Atlanta, and it was during the 2007, 2009 when the market crashed. And I didn't even have the money to get there. I went with some other folks that I didn't even know that were going to that seminar when I found out he was going to be there. They could have been rapists. They could have been anything. I didn't know, but they were signed up and they were in my area. I got a ride. I went there. I made sure I was first in line to buy his book. I made sure I got his autograph, gave him my card, and kept going to every seminar he was on, because he doesn't give out his number. No, he doesn't. But he kept seeing my face, and everything that he said, I would do. And all of my children got his book and they had to read it. For Christmas, they were like, why can't we get shoes and toys like other kids? I said, because you're not like other kids. You're our kid. And this means that you are going to read this book and you're going to follow these principles, and you have to have a business. You can do something for fun, but you need to have something to make money, because I don't want you ever to be at anybody's disposal where because they don't write a check, you can't eat. No, and especially y'all are cute. What if somebody decides that you have to date them in order to make money? I said, not here, children. So it's a mindset. And so that's what I would tell them. I would tell them my life story and tell them to be transformative. It starts with the person in the mirror. Start with yourself. Okay. And then once you've done that, then you got that mentor, whatever they say to do that's legal, ethical, and moral, do it. Never be lazy. Never procrastinate. Okay. And have self-confidence in yourself. If you don't like the way you look, honey, move away from the table, hit the gym, do whatever it is that you think you need to do to get to the next level. So in a nutshell, that's what I tell the kids, and that's what I would tell those kids.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that. Now we're going to get started with our top 23 outstanding global workers.
And it's week 23 as well, His Excellency.
Yes, that's right. And we're going to start off with our helping with public relations for GODSU, Lakeisha Richards Chaplin, who is the CEO of L.J. Richards LLC.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Dr. Diane Eubanks, and His Excellency Dakar. Thank you so much. Again, I am Chaplain Lakeisha J. Richards. I am truly excited. I am the CEO and founder of LJ Richards LLC. And what I do is I empower, educate, and equip women who are stuck and hurting from life issues, go from pain to operating in their God-given purpose through the power of forgiveness. So I am so excited about this assignment, what God has given me for this season. I'm telling you, even regarding being at GODSU, I am super excited regarding that. Just so many opportunities here. And I'm thankful for Dr. Diane. When she mentioned the program to me, it was not a second thought. because actually I was looking for a chaplaincy program, and I'm just so thankful. You have to be careful what you ask God for when you pray, because he will come through. And I'm telling you, he really came through with GODSU. I am excited to be a part of this family, a part of this community, and the Empower You conference was absolutely amazing. And if you've been thinking about going back to school, this is the place for you. You definitely want to reach out to GODSU so that you can move forward in the assignment that God has for you. If my services can be assistant to you, you can definitely contact me at 800-219-0922. I am also on Facebook. You can find me at Lakeisha J. Richards.
Outstanding, outstanding. And I definitely want to welcome you. I know that you spoke with the leadership last week and you're coming on as a alum leader in terms of volunteering for the university, and we're so excited to have you. So congratulations again on everything. And I know you have another graduation coming up in December. And so we're so pleased to have you. Blessings to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Blessings to you, Dr. Diane.
Helping with administrative work for GODSU, our Dean, His Excellency Dr. Willis Eubanks Chaplain, who is the CEO of Take Action Now, Inc., doing business as Tannic.
And also for administrative work in terms of ensuring we have those online courses. Assistant Dean Dr. Danny Porte, MBA, HCS, CPC, CPRW, MPM, HRPM, SHRPM. GODSU board member and GODSU assistant dean for online courses and CEO of Professional Management Enterprises, Inc., or PME.
We also have our paralegal and also helping with administrative work, our director, Her Excellency Cairo D.R. Eubanks, who is the UNCSR CLC CEC chaplain, and she's also the CEO of Cairo Speaks and Cairo Writes.
With administrative work for GODSU, again, Assistant Dean Apostle Dr. Adrian Jackson Chaplain, President and owner of Global Expert Solutions LLC. She is also a board member and a co-host of our God Success Teach and Pray.
And we have administrative work for GODSU, Assistant Dean Designate Courtney Lodge, MBA, who is a co-founder, CEO, and the master coach at Shore Profits Academy and Shore Profits Coach. And he's also GODSU Assistant Dean of GODSU's Credit Union and NFFI JA.
Also board advisor. Excellent, yes. Excellent. For fundraising, GODSU Executive Administrator, Her Excellency Dr. Arlene Span, Chaplain and founder of Arlene Sweats.
And we have for fundraising for GODSU, His Excellency Dr. Jerome Span Chaplain, and he's the CEO of Span at Your Service.
And for public relations, we have with us Dr. Antoinette Tony Myers Winfield, Doctor of Chiropractor at GODSU Spine Rehabilitation Center.
And we have public relations for GODSU, Dr. Kevin J. Super, Chaplain, who's the president, founder, and chief visionary officer for the Super Group.
Also, Assistant Dean Reverend Dr. Leo Pickett, Chaplain, CEO of Leo's Worship and Praise, and also one of our co-hosts for the God Success Teach and Pray.
That's right. We have the remainder helping with public relations for GODSU, Kolawale Ogunyemi, Chaplain, who is the founder of Hope Community Solutions LLC and Hope Auto Sales Inc.
Public relations for GODSU all the way from Guyana. Mark Roy Jr., owner, Cram Ronjo Design. Thank you.
And we have Dr. Karis Monroe, Chaplain, who's the founder of Fabulous Homes International.
Public relations, also Eva J. Pierce Brown, Chaplain, former president of the Ministers' Wives and Widows of Fredericksburg and vicinity, and currently serving as chaplain.
We also have Assistant Dean Dr. Cecilia Wilson Smith Chaplain, who's the founder of the Strong Sisters of Strength SOS Ministries and is a God Success Teach and Pray co-host.
Public relations again. Miss Sharon Wright, CEO of Bella Sophia, self and skincare, and a GODSU sponsor. For public relations again, we have Melina Villa, yes, a Zumba Zoom instructor and a GODSU sponsor.
We have our Assistant Dean, Bishop Dr. Reginald Benjamin Chaplin, who's the pastor, CEO, and bishop at Lighthouse Christians Fellowship Center, and he's also a God Success Teach and Pray co-host.
Assistant Dean, Reverend Dr. Sandra Norris Decker, Chaplain, First Lady and co-pastor of Greenhouse International Church, owner and physician at Genesis Health and Clinic and Spa, GODSU Assistant Dean of Chaplaincy Program.
We have Assistant Dean, Reverend Dr. Lalithia Davis Chaplain, who is the CEO and founder of Dior to Live in Overflow. And she's also a God Success Teach and Pray coach.
Miss Black Florida Talented Teen, the Miss Black USA title holder for the Sunshine State, Sudan ALU Bank, CEO of Sudan Dolls, Games and Apps, and also a co-host, the youngest co-host, in fact, of the God Success Teach and Pray program.
And we have our Dean, Reverend Dr. Anne-Marie Wilkinson Chaplain, who's the CEO of Shop Fashion Focus and is a God Success Teach and Pray co-host.
We have Designate Terrence Winslow, LSSBB, 20-year Army retired veteran, author, and strategic management consultant, and the founder of Bravado Investments, LLC, doing business as B360.
Yes.
And of course, for administrative work, Director, His Excellency Dakar Eubanks, my co-host here on the Wednesday Icon Talk, CEO of Dakar Marketing Tools, co-director of the GODSU Junior Ambassador Program, and director, of course, of GODSU, all our operations here, MC, engineer, and young man extraordinaire.
Thank you.
Please tell us what you do, sir.
Absolutely. Yes, as she said, I am your MC, His Excellency Dakar, and I'm the Director of Operations at GODSU. I also serve as the co-director of the Junior Ambassador Program, and I'm also the CEO of Dakar Marketing Tools. And here at Dakar Marketing Tools, we're an international graphic and printing company, providing you with all of your marketing needs to help you and your company grow. Our popular products are branded rings, branded pins, golf shirts, jackets, and GODSU African American History Bibles. In addition, we provide merchandise that is crucial to your business's success, such as our magazines, banners, flyers, digital business cards, and printed business cards. And with our innovative tools, you can turn your brick and mortar into an e-commerce platform. During this time of constant Zoom meetings and webinars, we at Dakar Marketing Tools want to make sure you're prepared with our Zoom for Profits course. You can see the information on the screen, how to register for it, and it'll be an on-demand course. Some of the offered courses that we're going to provide is how to make money doing Zoom, Zoom Essentials, Zoom Basics, and turning your brick and mortar into an e-commerce platform.
Awesome.
And I also want to have our other outstanding worker, our GODSU Chancellor. Yes, she is the Right Honorable Her Excellency Reverend Dr. Diane Moore Eubanks, JD Chaplain, who is also Miss Senior Florida USA and Miss Senior Jamaica Universe.
Oh, thank you so much for the wonderful, wonderful greetings. And everyone, I am your Chancellor here at GODSU, the African-American Jamaican woman who is currently operating with the help of an outstanding board and board advisors this wonderful Global Obadiah Seminary University. We are a 501c3 interfaith e-learning Florida Department of Education approved degree issuing religious institution. And here at GODSU, we operate at the intersection of collaborative e-commerce, digital branding, interfaith respect, and we stress Afrocentric education, leadership, and entrepreneurship. We believe here at GODSU that we're global citizens and our technology is used to spread all our teachings online, as well as we have live platforms. One of the main platforms that GODSU is to mentor and support men, women, and youth in entrepreneurship. So today I just would like to extend a special appreciation to all the GODSU leaders that you saw and heard on this platform listed above who have volunteered so many hours. We especially thank those who've given names, emails, phone numbers, websites, etc. Folks who would be great candidates for GODSU. We really do appreciate the opportunity to add more workers of God here in our database, as well as to register them for educational programs. I am your humble servant here at GODSU, serving as your chancellor and also the provost of our Global Bible Institute, but I cannot do it without each and every one of you out there playing your role, playing your part. I'm a licensed financial service advisor with Invita Financial Network. We teach you how money works, right? Teach you how to plan for retirement, how you can use your children and yourself to open accounts that you can use to basically own your own bank. It's amazing. So we definitely want you to contact myself if you're interested in any of those items, as well as Dr. Willis Eubanks. We can help you very much there. I am also the director for our UN NGO, New Future Foundation, Inc., in New York over their education division. And I'm also the president, national president for our Jamaica branch, New Future Foundation, Inc., the Jamaica chapter, under the auspices of Queen Mother Dr. Dolores Blakely. How long has she been in that position?
For 52 years.
52 years, if you can imagine that. So with that said, we are so pleased in Jamaica to be able to help the Jamaican children with tablets, electronics, as well as computer items, solar calculators, just all the various things that the children need. And we're able to do that through our wonderful board and through our sponsors. And I was recently crowned, I'm so pleased, as Miss Senior Florida for the United States, as well as Miss Senior Jamaica Universe. And so with that said, we continue to represent you all with dignity, but very humbly, and invite you to please listen up. We need you to like, share, subscribe, and
comment.
That's right, because if you don't, the algorithms will say we don't exist. So please comment, even if it's thank you, yes, something, so that we can get feedback, but as well that, our algorithms will go up. We have wonderful messages for you. So please listen up and invite your friends to do the same. Thank you so much. And thank you, His Excellency the Car, for styling me today as usual. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you. Thank you.